Sleeves here with your Senior Pickleball Report powered by TNC Network. Let's get it going. Today we're talking to Maureen O'Malia. She is a senior pro, champion pro for the Oklahoma City OKC Punishers of the newly formed National Pickleball League. And we chat all things pickleball, specifically about the new league and the upcoming season and her role in it. But before we get started, if you like this content, consider subscribing to the channel. Really helps us out. Hit that subscription, hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything. Leave us a comment. Tell us what you think of the interviews and the people we're talking to. Also, check out our socials, check out our merch, and all of the discounts in the description for shoes and paddles. All right, let's get to the interview with Maureen. Welcome to the Senior Pickleball Report, Maureen O'Malia. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Glad to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you. Obviously, we'll get to the exciting stuff coming up in June with the newly formed National Pickleball League, you being part of one of the initial franchises, the Oklahoma City Punishers, and how that came to be. But let's start, like I start with everyone. How did this goofy wiffle ball game come to your world?
So a few years back, I'm originally from Southern California, and I grew up playing tennis. And I was living in Europe, and we'd come and visit my mom in California, and she's like, "You got to come try this game." And I was like, "No, I'm a tennis player. What is this? Nope, not doing it." You know, when we'd visit her again 6 months later, and she'd say, "You got to come try this game." I was like, "Not going to do it." She's like, "One time, you know." So she dragged me to an open play, and within 10 minutes, of course, I was hooked. And then again, we were living in Europe at the time, and this was maybe in 2018, 2019, and there just wasn't anything going on over there. Nobody knew about it, not very much. They don't have the facilities like we have here in the US.
Right.
And but I did sort of scrap and search, and I found, a couple places in the UK I could play in once a month. I mean, which is nothing. Anyway, but then in 2020, we moved to Park City, Utah.
Oh.
And this was during COVID, but even during COVID, it was outside, it was summertime. They were able to get them to unlock the courts. So here I was in this awesome mountain town with nothing else to do because everything was closed. And then I really got into it then. The club here was really, really welcoming. We have a club of people that just uses the public facility. So that was summer 2020. And again, even though that was still during COVID, Utah was still having pickleball tournaments, sort of in the surrounding area. Sure. So I just kept playing and playing. And then in summer of 2021, the public facility needed, a teaching pro. So I took up that job, like grew all the programming at our public facility, which is awesome, from beginner to advanced. And again, I had been a tennis coach a long time as well. I've been a tennis coach in the UK. So I had a coaching background. Yeah. And so that just took off, and I just loved it. I loved coaching. I loved competing, kept playing tournaments in Utah. You just meet people, right? Just, start winning some tournaments, start going to other places to play tournaments, and just, it just went from there.
It starts to consume your life. I get it.
Exactly.
So, what kind of level of tennis have you played?
So I played college tennis. I played at Santa Clara University, so it's D1.
Yeah.
And then I played later in life. So in my 30s, I played in the UK at a national level. I played for the Queen's Club at London. So and that was very high level, national level tennis.
Right.
On all different surfaces. Right. We had grass, clay. So I
singles, doubles, both.
Yes. Singles and doubles on all the different surfaces. And then I had my own tennis coaching business over there as well. So
right.
Yeah, played to a high level.
Yeah. Do you play tennis anymore?
I do, but not that much. I don't like playing tennis up at altitude. I'm up here at over 8,000 feet. The balls go flying to the moon and back.
Right.
But again, I've played tennis so long. If I, wanted to go out and play, I can. It feels just the same as it ever did. But I mostly play pickleball.
Right.
99.9% of the time I'm on a pickleball court.
Right on. So let's talk about your year so far, your 2023 season. Talk to me about what you've played so far, some of the success you've had, and what you see for the rest of the year for you as far as tournament play goes.
Whoa, okay, let's see. What have I played? Oh, I don't know that off the top of my head.
Oh, that's okay. I mean,
I played in Red Rock.
I see you on podiums, so you're doing okay.
Yeah, so I play most of the Utah tournaments. Oh, actually, yeah, this winter I played in Arizona. I played at the PPA Desert Ridge.
Yeah.
Did well there. Played in the regionals in Arizona. Did well there as well. Played singles there as well. Did well in that. And then kind of the beginning of the year, this NPL news started coming out.
Right.
So I started, kind of focusing on that. And one thing I do have to say, in the winter in Utah, it's ski season. So I consider that my cross training. So a
good cross training.
A few less tournaments in the winter. I did go to Arizona twice, but I do in the winter ski a lot. Full time.
Yeah. Right on.
So and sometimes it's a little bit hard to get out of Utah. So you can't, you know what I mean? It's so yeah. And then this NPL thing came up, and so I focus on that and think, wow, that sounds just beyond exciting. Yeah. I've got to do it. And then wanted to go to the combine. My level was high enough to not go to the combine, but I'm like, that's just even still sounds too good to miss.
Yeah, for sure. So that's a great segue into, let's talk about the combine, because that's on some levels, it may not seem like this to a lot of people now, but it's pretty historic. There's a combine for people that are professionals over the age of 50, and to get drafted into a over 50 professional league. If people, I think because pickleball is growing so fast, it almost sort of becomes sort of, okay, but that's a big deal. Yeah. So talk about your journey to the combine, and then, upwards towards the draft and your expectations of getting drafted and all that stuff.
Yeah, so, I signed up. They, it was very well organized. They let me know all the details. And again, it was winter here in Utah, so very hard to play outside. And we have we're here in Park City, we have very limited space in the winter to practice and stuff. And it snowed 1 million inches here this year. So, but I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do what I can do, and I'm going to go and I'm going to play and compete like I know how to do. So, right. And, super well organized. And I got there, and I didn't know anybody else going. There were a couple other people from Utah, but again, super welcoming, super well organized, got there. And I knew mostly I was just there to play pickleball and meet people.
Yeah, for sure. So what was the level of play? Did you think it was something that you sort of expected or not?
Yeah, it was good. And I have to say that the atmosphere, right, is, obviously you want to meet people, but competitive atmosphere, right? Yeah,
you're competing,
so,
right?
Right. So you've got to, like, even if you're, having lunch with a bunch of the players, in the next half hour, you're probably going to be either playing with them or against them. And that was pretty unique about the combine, is because, we had our groups and our pods, but you're going to play with somebody, and you might have played awesome with that person and really gotten along with them. But, the next game you're going to be playing against them, and you need to take them out. So,
right. Yeah.
And again, exactly. So, but, you kind of had to keep that mindset the whole time, that it's, still a competition, and
right.
And then there's, the team owners were there, and which was great, and scouts and stuff. But, everybody's new, and a lot of unfamiliar faces, and, you didn't want to get too caught up in, oh, wait, who's that? Because it's taking your mind off of the competition. But it was fun. It was really, really fun. All the games were great and competitive. Yeah. I did well. I played through to the last round on the second day. And the level of the competition was good. There's, a few weak players here and there. But it was still, it was great competition. And then, even before the day before, the rec play. So, you never knew, we didn't know who the groups were going to be until I think the morning of or the night before. So it had some awesome rec games as well. So just, a little more relaxed, but still competitive. So
sure. Yeah. Kind of get the blood flowing a little bit. Right.
One thing we didn't get to do, they had to kind of change that up, is originally we were going to do, gender doubles and then mixed.
Yeah.
And I think because, they just needed to see, like, so we didn't wind up getting to play mixed in the combine.
Yeah.
So maybe we didn't get to meet as many, the men meet the women or women meet the men. But it was fine.
Mixed is an interesting animal because in some level, mixed isn't just easy to jump into because, who's going to take how much of the court and all those things.
Right.
So gender double is a little different, but mixed in a competition setting, competing for spots, I could see that getting a little dicey.
Right. So I think that's probably why, they made that decision during the combine and it was fine. And obviously they made it for a variety of reasons, which was completely fine. So
New paddle company, Pickle, PCKL, great paddle line, great price points. Anything you want from starter paddle to intermediate to a pro series high level paddle. Check them out. Get 15% off using my discount code. Pickle. It's the future.
Are you looking to stay up to date on the latest pickleball news and tips? Look no further than the Sleeves Senior Pickleball Report newsletter. Get the scoop on the sport, learn how to stay healthy while playing, and find out about upcoming tournaments. Subscribe now to get all the pickleball info you need.
Right. So let's talk about draft day. I mean, you had obviously, you're confident you made it to that last round there, and you're a good player and you're a podium player all the time. You're duper or whatever. Your rating is high enough, really, where you didn't need to go to the combine. So talk about just kind of expectations. I know there's probably some butterflies a little bit, like waiting for your name to get called. So talk about that experience.
Yeah. So I think the draft was 3 weeks after the combine, which that may as well have been 3 years, right?
Right. Yeah. Sweating bullets.
After the combine, that was really exciting. Got back home, kind of got back into work, and then 2 weeks goes on, and there's all the talk about it and the buzz, and I wasn't able to go to the draft party in Florida, which I was really stressed out and bummed out about. But we had a family trip we had to go on, so But the last few days before the draft, you're seeing all the stuff about the teams and all the media, and it was very, very nerve-wracking. And again, like you said, you kind of go, well, I did well, and I've got good results. And also, but at the combine, they also said to people who maybe didn't come through the rounds, they still told those people, they said, play your heart out, even on the second day, because it's still all to play for, because they're not just looking at, only that day's results.
Right.
And, I know some people were like a little bit bummed when they didn't make it through. And I said to them too, I'm like, just go play your heart out. Like, go.
You came to play. So play. Yeah.
Yes. Which they did. Because I think, the owners, when they're drafting their team, I think they're looking at all sorts of things. Sure. I don't know what all those things are, but I think
I've interviewed all of at least someone on the ownership team, and they're looking for more than just quality play. They want quality play, but they also want quality people.
Right. So, they're looking at everything, maybe what you've done over the last years. Sure. It was all going smoothly until it's like, and then, some of my people I met were going to the draft party, and I was like, I can't be there. So, and then draft day was extremely nerve-wracking. So, they streamed the party.
Yeah.
Waiting for the team. They're naming the teams. They're in alphabetical order. Just by chance, the team I got drafted on, the Punishers, OKC Punishers, they were the last team to announce their team.
Yeah.
So
then you're really sweating.
Oh my God, I was, and we needed to leave for the airport.
18 spots.
I know. And then alphabetical order. So, I was sweating, but at the same time, I was confident. I'm like, they're going to call my name.
Yeah.
And they did. I was screaming my head off. So,
Well, you're on a great team. You're on a very fun team. I've talked to Carol recently. I've interviewed her, and I interviewed a guy who lives in Lake Havasu City, David Alexander, Coach David. He's got a YouTube channel. So, and I've, Carol's always very active on Instagram and doing really cool things. And her interview should be coming out next week. So you're in a fun group. And quite honestly, they all seem pretty fun. Season 1, still figuring out what this is, how it's going to work. Obviously, there's always adjustments after a season and, tweaks and stuff like that. But besides sort of, what your record might end up being or how you'll do playing wise, do you have any sort of kind of what you think this is going to seem like? Because, obviously you're in a really cool location. You're in Chicken and Pickle, where people are there to have fun, and then they get to watch professional pickleball. So talk about some of the excitement and things that you're looking forward to, minus just, that you got to go out there and win games. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, the fact that, and even so far, it's been so well organized, right? We're all stepping out into the unknown with the founders, Beth and Rick, they're just driving this.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable. So I'm just super excited to be on a team, obviously, like you said, win matches, and just see how it goes with the organization.
Yeah.
And I just think it can only be awesome, right?
It's groundbreaking. It's very groundbreaking, and you're part of that.
Exactly. Just exactly that. I'm excited for every single minute of it.
Yeah.
And again, if there's a little hitch here and there, it's all fixed. It's all resolvable, right?
Yeah.
We have a bunch of great people, and we're all in it. We're all in it for the same reason. So
yeah. And that's the thing. I think, you're in it for different reasons, obviously, than open pro players who are trying to make a living. Everybody's sort of established in their lives and they've accomplished things. And this is sort of like icing on the cake. It's not saying, the Champions Tour people are not competitive, because they are. But at the end of the day, if you watch people on social media that are part of these tournaments and these tours, they're having dinner together and they're enjoying each other. And I think, NPL just kind of expands that community, which you're now part of, which is really cool.
Right. And again, I think it's just gonna, after this first season, right, it's gonna explode, right? And I think it's just gonna.
They want to go to 30 teams. I mean, can you imagine? I see it someday, probably not too long in the distant future, where you're playing in your city and you have a home match or a road match.
Yes, which would just be amazing for anybody anywhere, right?
Yeah. So super cool. I hope to get to a couple. I may go to the Kansas City event, and I'll definitely be at the Glendale event at the championship, because I live in New Mexico. I have relatives in Phoenix, so I'll get to see some folks and meet all these folks that I've got to interview, including yourself, hopefully. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. And one other thing, it's too, a lot of the people in this have competed on teams at some level at some point in their life, probably. And then, I think it kind of was turning into, it's like, okay, if you want to keep competing at a high level, we still don't maybe want to play against the 20-year-old pros, right?
Right.
We can, but it's just different, to be able to play sort of in our age group, I mean that in a good way, right?
Well, I don't think the general public have any idea until they get to a court and see this up close, the level of play that y'all are playing at. Right, it's one thing to watch it on YouTube and you go, oh, I could do that. But then you get courtside, in which you'll have everybody's going to have access to in these Chicken and Pickles. That's what's great about it. You can eat your dinner and have a drink and watch professional pickleball, right up close. And it's mind blowing. I remember my first professional event, and I was like, holy cow, just the level of ball. And I don't care what level of pro you are, whether you're a Champions Pro or a Open Pro, the ball control, the pace, and the strategy in general it's really something to see in person. And that's why I encourage people to get out and see this tour, because you're going to get really good seats. Yeah. It's a cool place. You're just because it's, you got all these courts and you got all these tables and you can wander around. It's a really cool venue.
Yeah, exactly. And the athletes at the athletic ability, right? Even at,
it's through the roof.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, which I that was really exciting for me to also see, at I didn't expect anything less at the combine, but just to see, right, how many, what was it, 100, at least 100 of us out there.
Yeah.
Great athletes.
Yeah. And that's the thing, it's relatable, because everyday folks can look at this and go, okay, this isn't a 22-year-old that's just ripped and running around at, unbelievable speed. These are people who know how to play a game. They're in good shape. They know how to move the ball, and they've competed at a high level in other things for a very long time. So it's going to be, I think, very eye-opening to a lot of folks that see it for the first time in person, whether they're pickleball players or not.
Yeah. Yes. Even when we had the combine, right? Just local people that were there at the Chicken and Pickle that day, they were also coming in and out and watching and weekend, and just loved it. They just loved it. They're like, wow, so that was great. Yeah.
I can't imagine where this is going. It's so surreal on some levels to me, I know. You're drafted. You got to be really going, like, what is happening here?
Yeah, no, I
What
do.
reality is this?
I do sometimes say that, going, "Oh my gosh, this is happening. This is
Like, if you had
unbelievable."
told somebody a couple of years ago, listen, you're going to be playing in a professional pickleball, you're going to be drafted.
Yeah.
You'd be like, what?
No, exactly that. Like when I moved here in 2020, if somebody would have said that to me, I would have just gone, "Oh, no, 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 no. Like that's not even going to exist."
Right. And now it's a thing, and
Yeah.
it's only just picking up speed. And
Yeah.
I think y'all have a lot to look forward to in the next few years, because it seems from anybody I've talked to who's been involved with this, from sort of the, developmental level to the ownership to the players, everybody is really happy with how it's been put together and what it feels like. So, and that's a big deal right out of the gate, because you want to have that momentum and that good feeling. And I think, Michael, Rick, and Beth have done unbelievable things to take this on. This is no joke. Like, this is a lot of your life to organize something of this magnitude.
I mean, they took a humongous risk, and I appreciated that right when they made the announcement of about the whole thing, the combine and the league. And I was just like, I mean, I'm all in, and that huge risk, and I'm happy to jump into that unknown. And I'm like, it's going to be awesome. So,
I mean, how can you not jump in when you've seen what folks like that have done to lay sort of the groundwork for folks like yourself? Super exciting. Well, listen, I appreciate your time, and I can't wait to see you play, and hopefully in person and meet you. Let's talk before we go here a little bit, sponsor wise, and who you want to mention before we hit the road here.
So I'm sponsored by Engage Pickleball, made in the USA. They're great. They're great. They've always been great. I've just by chance always played with an Engage, and then got sponsored a couple years ago, and they're a great, small company doing big things. And great. Just even like, during COVID, when everything was weird about everything, they just kind of just kept chugging along. So they've been great, and I appreciate them.
Absolutely. All right. Hey, thanks, Maureen, and I look forward to seeing you this season.
Yes, great. Thank you very much. Good to talk to you.
Hope you enjoyed that interview with Maureen. Hey, we have a newsletter. Links in the description. Get your daily fix of pickleball news. All right. Until next time, hey, let's pickle. Hey, if you're looking for very, very comfortable court shoes, in fact, the most comfortable court shoes I've ever worn, and I've worn a lot of them over the years playing different sports, try Fitville. We have a link in the description that gets you $20 off your purchase.